Welcome, listeners, to today's episode of our podcast, where we're venturing into the enigmatic depths of the human psyche with two towering figures, Carl Jung and Friedrich Nietzsche. Have you ever pondered why certain stories, like the hero slaying the dragon or the serpent tempting fate, echo across cultures and centuries, stirring something deep within us? In this episode, titled Myths and Symbols, Jung and Nietzsche on the Language of the Psyche, we'll uncover how these ancient narratives and images serve as a secret code, a language that speaks directly from our unconscious selves. Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist who mapped the collective unconscious, and Nietzsche, the German philosopher who proclaimed the death of God, offer us unique lenses to decode this language. Their ideas, though distinct, converge on a profound truth. Myths and symbols are not just relics of the past, but living keys to understanding who we are. Expect a journey filled with intriguing insights, relatable examples, and questions that might just spark your own psychological adventure. So, settle in and let's explore the mysteries of the mind together. Carl Jung, born in 1875 in Switzerland, wasn't your typical scientist. A psychiatrist by training, he began his career under the wing of Sigmund Freud. But their paths diverged when Jung rejected Freud's narrow focus on sexuality as the root of the psyche. Instead, Jung turned his gaze to mythology, spirituality, and what he called the collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of human experience. His life took a dramatic turn in his late 30s when he entered a period of intense self-exploration, grappling with vivid dreams and visions he later chronicled in his Red Book. Imagine a man descending into his own mind as if it were a vast, uncharted wilderness. Jung did just that. This wasn't mere eccentricity, it was the crucible where his theories were forged. He studied alchemy, Eastern religions, and ancient myths, seeing them as mirrors reflecting the soul's depths. Jung believed that by understanding these universal symbols, we could heal psychological wounds and grow into our fullest selves. His legacy? A psychology that invites us to listen to the whispers of our unconscious through the stories we've told for millennia. Now meet Friedrich Nietzsche, born in 1844 in Germany, a thinker who shook the foundations of Western thought with a pen as sharp as a thunderbolt. A philosopher, poet, and cultural critic, Nietzsche famously declared, "God is dead," signaling the collapse of traditional religious certainties. But this wasn't despair, it was a call to action. Sickly yet fiercely brilliant, Nietzsche battled migraines and mental decline, yet produced works like Thus Spoke Zarathustra that brim with poetic intensity. He saw the psyche as a battleground of primal drives, chief among them the will to power, our innate urge to assert ourselves and create meaning. Unlike Jung, Nietzsche didn't systematize the unconscious, but he wielded myths and symbols like a sculptor, crafting figures like the Übermensch, the Overman, to embody human potential. His life ended tragically with a mental breakdown at 44, but his ideas endure, challenging us to confront life's chaos and craft our own values. Where Jung sought integration, Nietzsche demanded transformation, making their perspectives a dynamic duo for exploring the psyche's language. So what is this psyche we keep talking about? Picture it as the sum total of your mind. Everything you think, feel, and imagine, both on the surface and in the shadows. In psychology, it's the arena where consciousness meets the vast, unseen unconscious. Think of it like an ocean. The waves you see are your daily thoughts, but beneath lies a deep, mysterious expanse teeming with currents you rarely notice. Jung and Nietzsche both believed that myths and symbols are the buoys floating on this ocean, marking the spots where the unconscious rises to meet us. These aren't random doodles of the mind. They're messages, encoded in images like the cross or the phoenix, carrying truths about our fears, hopes, and potentials. For Jung, the psyche speaks through shared archetypes. For Nietzsche, it roars through individual acts of creation. Together, they suggest that by learning this symbolic language, we can navigate our inner world with greater clarity. What symbols have floated into your life lately? They might just be the psyche's way of saying hello. Myths are more than old tales told around a fire. They're the dreams of humanity itself. Whether it's the Greek Odyssey, the Norse Ragnarok, or indigenous creation stories, myths weave narratives that explain the unexplainable. Why we're here, what we're fighting for, how we endure. Psychologically, they're gold mines. Jung saw myths as expressions of the collective unconscious, bubbling up from a shared pool of instincts and experiences. Take the flood myth, found from Mesopotamia to Mesoamerica. It's not just about water, it's about renewal, chaos, and survival. Universal themes etched into our psyche. Nietzsche, though less systematic, leaned on myths too. His Dionysus, the god of wine and revelry, isn't just a character, but a symbol of life's wild, untamed energy. Myths for him were human inventions to wrestle with existence's absurdity. Ever notice how superhero movies echo these ancient tales? The Avengers battling chaos is just Achilles facing Hector, reborn. Myths grip us because they're us, our struggles, triumphs, and questions, wrapped in stories that never grow old. If myths are the stories, symbols are the words. Or better yet, the alphabet of the psyche. A symbol isn't just a thing, it's a vessel carrying meaning beyond its surface. A tree might stand for life, a circle for eternity, a snake for danger or wisdom. Jung calls symbols transformers, channeling psychic energy from the unconscious to the conscious mind. Ever drawn a mandala absent-mindedly? That's your psyche sketching its yearning for wholeness. Nietzsche loves symbols too. His Übermensch isn't a person, but an idea, a beacon of self-overcoming. Symbols are slippery. Their meanings shift with context. To a Christian, a cross is salvation. To an ancient Roman, it's punishment. In dreams, they get personal. Water might mean calm to you, dread to me. What's thrilling is their power to connect us to something bigger while revealing our unique inner worlds. Next time you spot a recurring image in your life, a bird, a key, pause. It's your psyche tapping you on the shoulder, eager to chat. Here's where Jung gets wild, the collective unconscious. Forget your personal baggage for a moment. This is deeper, a layer of the psyche we all share, handed down from ancestors we'll never meet. It's like a cosmic library stocked with archetypes, universal blueprints like the hero, the mother, the trickster, that pop up in every culture's myths and dreams. Why does a Japanese no play feel eerily familiar to a Viking saga? Because they're drawing from the same well. Jung stumbled on this idea after noticing patients dreaming of symbols, like mandalas, they'd never encountered. He argued these weren't coincidences, but proof of a psychic inheritance. Imagine it. Beneath your everyday thoughts lies a treasure chest of human history, whispering through symbols like the sun or the cave. It's not sci-fi, it's psychology with a mystical twist. The collective unconscious ties us together, suggesting that when we wrestle with our demons or chase our dreams, we're never truly alone. What ancient echoes do you hear in your own mind? Archetypes are the stars of Jung's collective unconscious, recurring characters that strut across the stage of human experience. The hero battles foes to save the day, the shadow lurks with our unspoken flaws, the anima and animus dance as the feminine and masculine within us. They're not just in myths, they're in us. Think of the wise old man, Gandalf, Dumbledore, Obi-Wan, guiding the lost, or the mother, nurturing yet fierce, from Demeter to Marge Simpson. Jung believed these figures emerge in dreams and stories because they're wired into our psyche, shaping how we see ourselves in the world. Meeting your shadow might feel like facing a personal villain. Scary, but it's part of you. Archetypes aren't static. They adapt. The trickster might be Loki in Norse tales or Bugs Bunny in cartoons, always shaking things up. Recognizing them isn't just academic, it's personal. What archetype do you see in your life right now? They're the cast of your inner drama, waiting for their cue. Jung didn't just theorize, he got practical with dream analysis. He saw dreams as the psyche's nightly news, broadcasting from the unconscious in a flurry of symbols. Forget Freud's obsession with repressed urges. Jung thought dreams were messages, often wrapped in mythic imagery. Say you dream of a crumbling tower. To Jung, it's not random. It might symbolize a shaky belief or a life in transition. His method? Sit with the dream, amplify it, connect that tower to myths like Babel or personal memories of instability. He'd ask patients to journal, sketch, even talk to dream figures, peeling back layers of meaning. It's detective work with a twist of poetry. Once Jung himself dreamed of a house with a hidden basement. Turns out it mirrored his discovery of the collective unconscious. Dreams aren't just weird movies. They're invitations to explore what's buried. Ever had a dream that stuck with you? What might it be whispering about your psyche? If dream analysis is passive, active imagination is Jung's hands-on sequel. Picture this. You're meditating, and a figure from a dream, a knight, a wolf steps forward. Instead of watching, you talk to it. Why are you here, you ask? It answers. This isn't role play, it's a bridge to the unconscious. Jung developed this after his own visions, realizing the psyche craves dialogue. You might write the conversation, paint the scene, or just imagine it unfolding. The goal? Integrate those hidden bits, the fears, the hopes, into your waking self. Say you're torn about a job change. Active imagination might conjure a guide to weigh in. It's not magic, but it feels close. Your mind's characters coming alive to help you grow. Jung saw it as a way to harness symbols actively, not just decode them. Ever tried talking to a part of yourself? It's weird, wild, and wonderfully revealing. Switch gears to Nietzsche, who in The Birth of Tragedy split the psyche into two primal forces, the Apollonian and Dionysian. Apollo, the sun god, is order. Think statues, logic, calm lines. Dionysus, the wine-soaked reveler, is chaos, music, frenzy, raw emotion. Nietzsche said these aren't just art styles. They're us. Ever felt torn between planning your day and wanting to ditch it all for a wild night? That's the dance. He loved Greek tragedy for blending them, an ordered plot with ecstatic undertones, like life itself. Symbolically, Apollo's the conscious mind crafting boundaries. Dionysus is the unconscious bursting through. Nietzsche thought great living, like great art, needs both, structure to stand, chaos to soar. Ever notice how a perfect song has melody and a beat that grabs you? That's the psyche flexing. Where do you lean? Apollo's cool head or Dionysus's wild heart? Let's zoom in on Apollo and Dionysus as symbols. Apollo's clarity, his lyre, his oracle, mirrors our need to rationalize, to see the world in neat boxes. He's the psyche's architect, building identity with straight edges. Dionysus, with his grapevines and mad dances, tears those boxes apart. He's the id unleashed, the instinct that doesn't care for rules. Nietzsche saw them wrestling in us all. Think of a time you planned a speech, then got swept away delivering it. In myths, Apollo's temples stand firm. Dionysus's followers roam free. Psychologically, they're the tension between control and surrender. Too much Apollo, and you're a robot. Too much Dionysus, and you're lost. Nietzsche's genius was celebrating both, urging us to find harmony in the clash. What's your balance? Maybe your playlists, classical one day, punk the next, hint at your own Apollonian Dionysian duet. Nietzsche's will to power isn't about dominating others. It's the psyche's engine, pushing us to grow, create, overcome. Think of it as the spark behind every "I can do this" moment. In myths, it's Hercules lifting the world, not just surviving but thriving. Nietzsche rejected survival as our sole drive. Why settle for existing when you can shape your destiny? Symbolically, it's the mountain climbed, the canvas painted, the self remade. Psychologically, it's why we chase goals despite setbacks. Think of an artist pouring their soul into a piece, defying doubt. Nietzsche saw this will in everyone, not just the greats. It's less about power over and more about power to live fully, authentically. Ever pushed past fear to try something new? That's your will to power humming. What mountain are you climbing right now? Here's Nietzsche's mindbender. Eternal recurrence. Imagine your life repeating forever. Every laugh, every tear, identical. Would you cheer or crumble? It's not literal. It's a symbol, a gut check for how you're living. Nietzsche tossed this in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, picturing a demon pitching the idea. Say yes, and you've embraced life, warts and all. Psychologically, it's a call to authenticity. Live so you'd relive it gladly. The Ouroboros, that snake eating its tail, nods to this. Life's a cycle. unending. It's not cozy. It's brutal, asking if you'd endure your worst days again. Yet it's freeing too. Every moment matters. Ever had a day so good you'd loop it forever? Or one so tough you'd rewrite it? That's your psyche wrestling with recurrence, sizing up your why. Nietzsche didn't mince words about religion. God is dead wasn't a quip. It was a bombshell. He saw religious myths as human-made, scaffolding for a psyche scared of the void. Christianity's heaven, a balm for suffering, but one that dims life's fire. He admired older myths, like Greece's tragic gods, for facing suffering head-on, not dodging it with promises. Psychologically, he's saying myths shape us, but we shape them too. They're tools, not truths. The cross isn't sacred to Nietzsche. It's a symbol we loaded with meaning. He'd ask, why lean on old stories when you can write your own? It's a challenge to the psyche. Don't hide in dogma, create your myth. Ever questioned a belief you grew up with? That's Nietzsche's spirit, nudging you to rethink the tales steering your soul. Let's pit Jung and Nietzsche against a myth. Prometheus, the titan who snatched fire for humanity, only to be chained and pecked by an eagle forever. Jung might call him a culture hero, archetype fire's knowledge, enlightenment from the unconscious, gifted to us all. That punishment? The psyche's price for growth. Think of facing your fears and feeling the sting. Nietzsche sees Prometheus differently, a rebel, his will to power blazing as he defies Zeus. That eternal torment? Life's tragic beauty striving means suffering, and he'd do it again. Jung's Prometheus heals us collectively. Nietzsche's inspires us individually. Both see the fire as symbolic light for Jung's integration, defiance for Nietzsche's transcendence. Ever stolen your own fire, a bold move that cost you? Your psyche's been there, whispering through this myth. The serpent slithers into countless myths, Eden's tempter, the Norse world serpent, the healing caduceus. Jung loved its duality. It's the shadow, dark and scary, but also transformation, shedding skin for renewal. The Ouroboros, circling back on itself, is the self-whole, eternal. Psychologically, it's what we repress and what we become. Nietzsche's serpent in Zarathustra coils around an eagle wisdom paired with freedom, accepting life's loops. For him, it's less about healing and more about embracing the cycle, eternal recurrence in scales. Both see it as potent. Jung's serpent integrates, Nietzsche's affirms. Ever dreamed of a snake? Maybe it's your psyche hissing about change or courage. What's it mean to you? Jung and Nietzsche aren't dusty relics. Their ideas pulse in today's world. Superhero flicks, pure archetypes, Captain America's the hero, Loki's the trickster. Jung would nod at their universal pull. Nietzsche's will to power shines in characters like Tony Stark, building empires from grit. The Matrix Neo's journey mirrors the hero myth, while its red pill choice screams Nietzschean self-making. Even music videos drip with symbols. Beyoncé's crowns and serpents aren't random. They're psyche speak. Pop culture's our modern myth factory, recycling old symbols for new quests. Ever felt a movie hit you deeper than expected? That's the language of the psyche, remixed for now. What's your favorite story lately? Any Jungian shadows or Nietzschean rebels in there? And Jung's fingerprints are all over modern psychology. Therapists use his dream work. Patients sketch symbols to unlock emotions. His archetypes birth the Myers-Briggs test, introvert or extrovert, anyone. Art therapy, where you paint your psyche, owes him big. He pushed psychology beyond Freud's couch into spirituality, making it a quest for meaning. Critics call him woo-woo, too much alchemy, not enough data, but his fans say he saw the soul science misses. Ever taken a personality quiz and felt eerily seen? That's Jung, whispering from the collective unconscious. His tools help us integrate, turning chaos into clarity. What symbol might a therapist pull from your life right now? Nietzsche's less clinical, more seismic. He didn't start schools, but existential psychology, think Viktor Frankl finding meaning in suffering, drinks from his well. His will to power fuels self-help gurus preaching grit. His eternal recurrence haunts therapists asking, "Are you living true?" Critics peg him as nihilistic, but he's the opposite. Life's yours to forge. Misreadings, hello Nazis, muddied his name, yet his call to authenticity cuts through. Ever faced a crisis and chose to rise? That's Nietzschean. His symbols, Übermensch, Dionysus, push us to question, create, thrive. What value are you crafting in your own psyche's forge? Here's your moment, listeners. What myths or symbols light up your life? Maybe a lion tattoo means strength, or a recurring ocean dream hints at calm or chaos. Jung would say they're your psyche talking. Nietzsche would ask what they push you to become. Try this. Jot down a symbol that stuck with you. A star, a door, a flame. What's it saying? Is it an archetype guiding you or a challenge to overcome? This isn't homework, it's play, a peek into your inner world. Share it with us if you like. What's your psyche's favorite story? Jung and Nietzsche built their lives decoding these signs. Now it's your turn to listen. We've trekked through Jung's collective unconscious and Nietzsche's will to power, seeing myths and symbols as the psyche's native tongue. Jung hands us archetypes to unite our fractured selves. Nietzsche dares us to wield symbols for bold, singular lives. Together they say, look deeper. That dragon in your dream, that urge to rebel, they're not noise, they're signals. Psychology isn't just disorders. It's this, the art of hearing your soul. So next time a myth grips you or a symbol lingers, pause. It's your psyche, fluent in a language older than words, inviting you to dance. Thanks for joining us on this dive into Jung, Nietzsche, and the mind's wild terrain. Until next time, keep decoding and keep living.